Your job now is to drink it and just say it tastes amazing even if it doesn't.
All right.
I just kept thinking I was on stage how all the things I read, maybe they just didn't like the music. I don't know what, or maybe they were at the wrong stage. I don't know what it was, but the energy was amazing. But it was a dream come true. Like a few years ago, I think we were making a list of things I would love to do in my life one day.
Okay.
Like I would love to score something for Dragon Ball. That was one of the things. And so, you know, as the simulation works, of course, briefly after I was asked if I would be interested in doing that. So definitely a life goal.
So we're here with Zedd, noted latte expert, and he's going to make us a latte. I think first, before we do any of this, tell us what it is that you love about latte and how much time have you invested into making the perfect latte?
Ooh, I started loving coffee maybe like 3 years ago, and my main reasoning was one, I love the coziness and the warmth and the ritual.
Sure.
And the other thing is I read that it makes you less hungry, and I'm always hungry.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, if it makes me eat less food and I can lose some weight, I'll try coffee. That's how it started.
Appetite suppressant.
Yep.
Got it.
And then, as with many things in my life, if I like something, I need to know everything about it. So that's how we got to this obnoxious amount of equipment and beans. So we started a spreadsheet and started ranking every bean.
What?
Our own like system to figure out like what's acidic, what's sweet, what's bitter, to understand beans.
Sure. Okay.
And, you know, fast forward, I have my own roaster and I can roast my own beans. But long story short, I have been getting better at making good lattes.
Okay.
I'm not anywhere near where I want to be, but you can tell me how it is when I make you one.
Well, let's take us through it.
Okay.
What's step one?
Step one is, well, we need to grind the beans. First of all, we pick our beans.
Okay. Can we do a little bean tour? Can you give us like a few of your favorites? Give me the options, and then I'll pick one.
The options are all. Blue Bottle, I generally love Blue Bottle. I'm subscribed to their like weekly new bean situation.
Okay.
And then you can kind of read the notes, which is the most marketing part of any bean.
Plum, toffee, golden raisin.
Like no coffee tastes like that. But if you imagine well enough, it will maybe. It smells like coffee to me, but.
It smells good.
It smells good.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
These are really good. These I brought from New York. I actually haven't tried these yet. This was a really cool looking coffee shop, Watch House. I mean, we have a lot of choices. The world's your oyster.
I think let's do your favorite. What's your go-to?
This is actually a really, really good bean. Sterling Coffee Roasters. They had like my favorite bean ever.
Okay.
And I buy a bunch of beans, I try them out, and then I kind of rate them, at least internally.
Okay.
They had the perfect bean, and it's not available anymore. So I have a photo, so if you guys see this, please DM me. I'll send you a photo of the perfect bean, and maybe we can create it together and have it all year round.
All right.
This is the second best.
This is the one.
It's not the one.
Well, I see.
But this is like the closest I could get from them.
Let's do it.
That tastes like it. Milk chocolate and melon.
Interesting combo.
Not too shabby.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
So first thing we do is we weigh the beans so that we can replicate the shot if we like it. So
Okay.
this is a really cool, handy cup for anyone who wants to get into coffee, but it's a cup and a scale. So you can kind of see the grams on the back, which just eliminates one extra contraption. I personally do 20 grams in, and then a good shot is all about the ratio between how much you put in and how much you get out. So in our case, we're aiming for 20 grams, which we're 20.
The precision is incredible.
Very important. Then we want to spritz them a little.
What do you spritz them for?
Just water. To have less static. So if I didn't do this, once it goes in the grinder, it will kind of just spray all over the place.
I see.
And this will just make it do less of that. This is the grind setting. This is what's going to control how the bean comes out.
Okay.
Probably the most important stage of the entire process is right here.
Why?
Because if I do a little bit too fine, the fines are a little too tight, there's barely any water that's going to come through.
Oh my gosh.
And it's going to take forever, and it's going to probably taste really bitter.
Sure.
If I make it too coarse, it's going to shoot out way too quick, and you're not going to enjoy it. So finding the right setting for the right bean is the most important part. Sometimes we write it down on the actual bean.
Okay.
But at this point, I'm getting better at it, so I can kind of look at the bean and gauge roughly where it belongs.
So 9.5 is optimal here.
For this specific bean,
Okay.
this is probably going to be good.
This is real science. We are in a chemistry lab.
I might be really
right
bad
here.
at it, so you'll tell me how you like it.
I'm sure you're not.
So then we want to give it a nice little shake.
Okay.
We put a little bit of a filter in here, which hopefully will make it extract a little more evenly.
Okay.
What you want to avoid, this is real for coffee nerds, but you want to avoid channeling, which means that in your puck of coffee,
yes,
there's like a little hole,
yes,
and the water finds its way into the hole, and it starts like unevenly flowing through that hole. You want it to be perfectly even and the water to come through.
Kind of all seep in
so
at the same level and same speed.
Notes.
Wow. Okay.
I should be I should be selling something.
You're selling it to me. I'm in.
I don't even know why I'm doing any of this. I have nothing to sell.
I'm buying.
Listen to my music. Okay, so we got your beautiful beans.
Okay.
Right. So now we're gonna make sure that they're all distributed. So this is where this tool comes in. You wanna do the honors, and you can like do a little more of it.
A few.
Yeah, let's do like 5. Okay.
Okay.
Now you have distributed them, and now we have to tamp.
Okay.
Tamping is where we,
sure,
you know.
And what does the tamping do for us?
So if we just put it in like this, it would shoot out incredibly quick.
I see.
We want to compress it.
Okay.
And this is probably the most important part after the bean is grinded.
I see.
Okay, so it looks a little better.
Yep.
At least what you would expect it to look like. And now it's time to pull the shot and hopefully not embarrass myself. So we put it in.
Okay.
Another scale.
What are we weighing now?
Well, we need to know how much we're actually getting out. We said we had 20 in. We'll shoot for about 30 out. So this is the ratio. Depending on the bean, sometimes
sure.
You will want a 1-to-1. Sometimes you will want 1-to-3, which means 20 in, 60 out, or
Got
20 in, 20 out. We'll shoot for about 30, and in a perfect world, this is the second counter, how long it takes us. It'll take us somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 seconds.
Okay.
I personally don't think you need to be that precise. I know this doesn't look like it, but it doesn't have to be crazy precise in my experience. I don't have the palate to really taste that much of a difference. So now you have a little mirror, you can even.
Okay.
It's looking pretty good.
Can we see it?
I'm not embarrassing myself too much yet.
How can you tell?
If it doesn't like spray all over the place, it's a good start. If it doesn't come out too soon or too slow. So we'll aim for 30, and it took us 27 seconds, which is just about there.
Okay.
That looks pretty good.
It looks nice. It looks creamy.
You don't want it to be too thick, you don't want it to be too thin.
Yep.
You know, this could be a good shot.
This could be a good shot,
now,
guys.
I always use this milk, personally. Lactose-free, but as we spoke about it, I don't even know if I need it to be lactose-free. It's just incredibly delicious, and it has a ton of protein. So when I drink coffee, it makes me feel like I actually have a protein shake, which at least mentally helps me feel better about my coffee.
But your lifestyle.
You know, a little bit.
How much of it for you is the caffeine?
None.
Okay.
If I found a bean that is the same taste that is without caffeine, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Oh, so it's all about taste for you.
It's taste, ritual. I really look forward to like making an espresso or a latte or whatever. I also can have a coffee and go to bed, so I don't feel like it affects me as much in that regard.
Sure.
Some of my friends have a coffee and they're like tweaking out for 6 hours.
I get it.
Not really the case with me.
So you're one of the blessed humans that doesn't need caffeine to function.
I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never had it to function. Now we want to froth your milk to not be too thick like a cappuccino and not too watery. So let's see how we do. It's kind of about the positioning, and you want to have the tip just a little out for about 1 to 2 seconds.
Okay.
You'll hear that weird noise. 1, 2, and then you want to put it deeper and create a circulation. And then that vortex.
A little whirlpool effect.
A whirlpool
is happening in there.
And now we just feel it until it's too hot, and then we stop. Kind of a very ancient for all the tech that we have. It's when it's too hot, you stop. But
That's how you, when your hand starts to burn.
You know, that's still how we do it.
Right.
Okay, so then we want to make sure that we don't give you any bubbles. Oh, and then latte art is not something that I'm an expert yet. I've had my good moments. You know the beautiful art?
Yes.
Do you know how to do it?
I certainly don't.
Oh.
You would laugh at my coffee setup. I'd be embarrassed to show you. So
I need
you're way far
somebody
ahead.
here to like in person teach me how to do it. Because I know you can do it with like water and cinnamon and soap, and then you can just try and then put it back in the cup and try and try and try.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I only try when I actually do it. It makes me feel like every single time it matters. You know, there's more at stake.
But when the stakes are high, you're going to give it your all.
I give it my all every single time.
There you go. No pressure. No pressure. It's going to be beautiful no matter what happens. But let's see what you got. What's your signature design?
I'm not even good enough to have a design, so I'm just kind of swirling it around and hoping for the best. Okay, here we go. Swirl the coffee. I saw people do it. I have no idea why. Okay, we swirl, and then bring it a little closer. All right. Well, I would say it's close to a heart. What do we think?
I think that's gorgeous. I think that's your next album cover.
And that one's for you.
Thank you very much.
Your job now is to drink it and just say it tastes amazing even if it doesn't.
All right. So we're looking for chocolate and melon?
This is what they claim.
Okay.
I just like my lattes to taste gentle. That's usually the word I describe.
Sure.
Not too coffee, not too milky, just somewhere in between.
All right. Moment of truth. It's delicious.
Thank you.
It is. It's perfect.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you
really
very
good.
much.
It's really good, guys. It's a perfect latte.
I think you actually mean it, maybe.
I actually really do.
I wasn't sure if this is part of the plan. If you actually like it.
I would tell you, but this is delicious. I see what you mean by the gentleness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bitter. It's not too strong. I'm not fearful that I'm going to be up until 3 in the morning because of the caffeine.
Is that how it usually affects you?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
this one's gentle, so.
That's exactly right.
And then obviously always cleaning. I am the least, I'm never inclined to clean, ever. Just my personality. But with coffee, for some reason, I need it all to be clean every time. Only then.
This is a science lab, so you got to keep it.
It sort of is a little bit of a science lab, but yeah, this is this is where I'm at with my coffee making.
Okay, so I have a few questions.
Please.
So, do you want to? Is it just the making of it that is the delightful part of it to you? And is it mostly lattes?
I'll answer the second one first. It is mostly lattes.
Yes.
Occasionally it will be something else, but usually lattes is my preferred way of drinking coffee. And I think one is I love getting good at things. That's like my overarching hobby. Mm-hmm. I can pick up whatever and I will really want to be good at it.
Yes.
So this is something I suck at, or at least sucked at. And I was like, great, it's something new to learn to be good at in life.
Do you think it's fair to say that the same technical precision and dedication that you bring to your music, you've brought to this hobby?
Certainly dedication.
Yes.
I would say musically, I'm probably a little bit more just genetically gifted thanks to my parents.
Sure.
I have no coffee gift.
Sure.
This is pure work. but I enjoy getting better at it. I also just think there is a lot of precision. Like I learn when I think it matters to me and when it doesn't. I think people get crazy with like graphs of like this portafilter extracts a little more than this. I don't think it matters that much. You put milk in it, it's delicious. Just get a good bean, a good grinder, and it'll be fine. But I do enjoy knowing everything about it and being good at it. Like I've met some coffee experts and they brought me super rare beans.
Okay.
And there's only very little of them in the world. And it's like in a little pouch, vacuum sealed.
Whoa.
And there's 20 grams, there's one shot. And like at that point, you look at it and you kind of look at the color and you look at the density and the size and you do your best to put the right setting in there because if it's not right, you're never gonna get a second chance.
Right.
I love the idea of like being at least good enough to when I ever get my hands on an exotic bean, I can not fuck up.
Do it justice.
Sorry. Okay.
So, okay, last question. What do you do when you're on the road? Because I can't imagine you take all this stuff with you.
Not yet. not yet, but good idea.
Yeah.
When I'm on the road, this is like an activity that we do where we just try to find nice coffee shops. Mm-hmm. And there's amazing coffee everywhere. Sure. Honestly, what really got me into this, I should maybe mention, is when I went to Australia. I had a super automatic, which is a machine where you just, like in an office, you say latte and it just does it. And it was great. Mm-hmm. I liked it. And then I went to Australia and literally everywhere at the airport, at the hotel lobby, their coffees were so good. And I realized I won't get there with my machine. Like something in the machine between the grinding and the extracting, something isn't there. So I started getting into the manual world of coffee making, which is basically what we just did.
Sure.
And that's where the hobby started.
To start, True Colors peaked at number 4 in the Billboard 200, Break Free with Ariana Grande peaked at number 4 in the Hot 100, and over on Hot Dance Electronic Songs, you've had 4 #1 hits. Is there a favorite Billboard moment amid all of these successes?
Oh, this is always a really hard question to answer. It's like picking your favorite child.
Yeah.
I think to me, each song is like a memory to me. Obviously, I still play them all, or at least the very most of them. It reminds me of a time period in my life.
Sure.
Like I remember, for example, random example, but when I released Stay the Night, I was on tour. So it wasn't like that I was at home, we were preparing some sort of marketing plan, it released, and then we rolled it out. It was that I was just touring, and the song came out in the middle of my tour, and so I started playing it to an audience that had never heard the song, obviously. And every single night I could tell how more and more of the audience knew it, and that was a really special feeling. That was the first time in my life that I've experienced the popularity of a song growing while I was sort of playing it to people.
Right.
So every time I play Stay the Night, I remember sort of that birth of Stay the Night. Do I have a favorite Billboard moment? I would not be able to choose. Every single moment is special to me.
Sure. It's like picking a favorite bean. They're all good
Or
in
a
their...
favorite duckling. You know, I could never do that.
They're all good in their own ways. All right, so let's talk about Coachella, because we were just saying the size of the crowd at the outdoor stage for your performances, especially weekend one, I saw that show, was bananas. So tell me about being on stage and having that mass of humanity in front of you. What was that like energetically?
Energetically, that entire show was crazy. I think it was even crazier to me personally because I saw a bunch of tweets online about how people thought the crowds were really lame and nobody was moving, and I saw videos of artists performing and everybody's on their phones and like nobody is doing anything. So I came in prepared with that kind of audience.
Sure.
And I had my friend Matthew Bellamy from Muse was on stage right before I went on. We were chatting a little bit. He was kind of telling me about his memory of playing that stage. And he's like, oh, you have a really nice crowd there. And for some reason, from that angle of the side stage, it didn't look that full to me. I thought he was being polite and nice and like supportive. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure it'll be really good. And it wasn't until I ran up and I got in my booth on the sketchiest ladder of all time. And I ran up there and I'm really high up, so I really get a beautiful view.
Sure.
And it was the very start of my set, and it was completely, like I couldn't see the end of it.
Yeah.
And I had just started playing. It was crazy, and the energy was so good.
Yeah.
So I just kept thinking I was on stage how all the things I read, maybe they just didn't like the music. I don't know what, or maybe they were at the wrong stage. I don't know what it was, but the energy was amazing.
This crowd was like nothing I've ever seen before at Coachella, to
Me
be quite
neither,
honest with you. It was
honestly.
amazing.
I've played Coachella.
I'm wondering, because I watched the documentary that you made about it, and it seemed just like an especially chaotic time, let's say, very busy time. When you're moving through the world at that speed, how do you stay centered and sane so you can do the thing that you're there to do?
I think, first of all, the show was so good because I have an amazing team, and it's not just me working on it. And if there's one person on the team that has to stay level-headed and cool throughout the process of chaos, it has to be me. Because I'm obviously working on the music, and I'm there having to perform it, but I also have to make sure that everybody else does the best that they can do.
Sure.
So, in my experience, chaos is part of my job, but, you know, freaking out is not.
Sure.
And so I think it's just incredibly important to remain cool, calm, and spread that energy throughout your entire team so that they can do the best they can. Because if everybody starts freaking out, the chaos is going to turn around really quickly.
Absolutely.
I don't have like a magical answer other than that I'm working with an incredible team and we support each other really well and everybody looks out for each other, and that's how we are capable of doing things like we did. And like, to give you an example, the idea of playing Severance at Coachella weekend 2 happened the night before the rehearsal, which is like 2 nights before Coachella. And I was just playing piano, trying to figure out what to play, because I didn't know how long it's going to take to wheel out an orchestra.
Right.
Physically.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to have to allow myself maybe a minute of improvisation. I'm looking at the keys I can play. And the suggestion was brought up, oh, it would be funny to play Severance as a joke. And I was like, wait, but this could actually be genius. This could be incredible.
Yeah.
And then we had to orchestrate it overnight. And then I showed up to the rehearsal with the orchestra. They had no idea we were even going to play Severance. And then they get the charts and they open it and they're like, are we playing it? Like, they were super excited. But that's the amount of chaos that goes into a show like this. And then the next day we perform it in front of 50,000 people.
Flying by the seat of your pants.
A lot of things are happening really quickly at a show like Coachella.
Yeah.
And you just gotta stay cool.
Well, like you said, if you stay cool, everything stays cool.
Yeah, I think it's critical.
And you did. It seems like it all went perfectly. So
thank you.
Obviously, you played a lot of music from Telos during the set. So that album came out last August. I'm wondering if you've listened to it a lot since then, outside of the live performances, and if and how your relationship to that music has changed.
I have not listened to it a lot since it came out, because I have listened to it so much for the last like 6 years of making it. I occasionally will, obviously besides when I play it out live, play people's songs, and then I hear it, and I'm really, really proud of this record. Yeah. I think it's the most personal record, and it might not be the easiest one to connect to if you're not me, because it's so deeply rooted in artists that I grew up with, music that has inspired me, things musically that have inspired me, right? So it's just something that I will probably be the most proud of in my career. From composition to the flow to the mixing, every bit of it to me is something I'm super proud of, and I think everything I have done in my career has led to me being able to do an album like this. In particular, True Colors was critical in my life to be able to have the courage and fan base to make an album that is such a departure from where I started.
That's interesting. How do you see the link between True Colors and then Telos? 8 years later, 9 years later?
I think nine or more
9 years later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long time.
Yeah.
So to me, right, Clarity is my first album. I can't disappoint anyone because I don't have fans to disappoint.
Sure.
So I can just be myself. So you release an album, it becomes incredibly successful, and people, of course, automatically put you in some sort of box or shape, because it's easier for humans to identify things that are in familiar variations. So I'm the EDM guy, but I'm not. I just happen to be successful at the time with songs that were EDM. Deep in me is what Telos really is.
Right.
So True Colors, the purpose of this album was to sort of teach my fans and let the world know, like, here are 11 colors, or 10, however many colors, that these are all me. This is still Zedd. It's not all 128 BPM EDM, 4 on the floor bangers. There's a lot more depth to me that I would love everyone to know is still me. I don't want anyone to be alienated by it. So I think if I hadn't released an album like True Colors, I don't know if I had felt the comfort to make a song like Stay Over the Middle that is such a departure from Clarity. And I feel like the courage to make a song with Muse and John Mayer and artists that are definitely not in my lane traditionally, I think that courage stemmed from, having a supportive fan base that loved True Colors and that showed me, okay, I can express myself in whichever fashion that is. Like, I'm not a genre, I'm a artist, and the artist evolves.
I listened to this album for the first time and I was like, damn, wow. I mean this in the best way. You could tell that it had taken you that long to make it because it was so perfect and so grandiose in its ambitions, and it just felt like you hit everything exactly as you were wanting to. Does that feel
Thank you
correct?
very much.
Yeah,
that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about my music. So
so
thank you very much.
I mean it, and I'm wondering. So obviously it took a long time to make, and you can hear that it took a long time to make. What were the conversations like with your label when you were saying, "Hey, I need a little bit more time. I need a little bit more time"?
I have to say that for all the terrible stories you hear about labels, I have none of those to tell. Yeah. And my process with the label was that, on paper, my contract said that I had to deliver an album within 12 months of delivering True Colors, which I was like 8.5 years late. And no one ever like pressured me to do anything because I think I've just had a lot of trust and love from the label, and everyone knew me very well because I worked in the label building for quite a few years. I took over their studio and I was in the building making music. Everybody got to know me really well. I walked past everybody's faces every day.
Sure.
And people knew how hard I worked and that good things for me take time. So nobody rushed me to do anything. I at least never got any, where's the album?
Right.
You know, and the album was done when it was done, or at that stage it was nearly done. Anything, I was so happy to see so much excitement from the label to work on something that isn't as much of the same. It's not trying to be a pop hit. It's not trying to push through a lot of noise. It's just trying to be what it is. And I think everybody from the label is really excited to give their all to that kind of record.
Right, and to hear you grow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure no one wants you to do the same exact thing. They want to hear your evolution, and this is very much that. And coming off of True Colors, you know, is a departure, but it's, you know, you can still tell it's you. And so obviously this is the 10-year anniversary of that album. It came out in May of 2015. When you think about the person that you were then, who was that guy? What were his priorities? What was your life like?
Well, the guy 10 years ago was definitely not good at making coffee. I can definitely say that much.
And here we are today.
So I think when I think of myself as Zedd, I'm not like a artist that has a persona. I don't wear like clothes to be in a sort of like, I don't know, I'm just myself. So I haven't changed that much. I feel like as a person, my priorities are still the same. I've always had my principles, always a little bit German. And I think my upbringing has shaped me to be who I am, and I'm still the same I was 10 years ago. However, musically, I do feel like I've evolved, I've matured a lot. Like 10 years ago, I really cared about my songs being really loud. This is a really random, like nerdy fact, but I cared about my songs being really loud and competitive, and I wanted DJs to play them. While today, I really appreciate DJs playing my music, but that's not why I make it. And I'm not gonna make a song any dB louder than it has to be unless there's any advantage for the music and it sounds better. I used to compare my music to others all the time. I have not done this in quite a few years. It's just, I see myself as an artist who's just there to express themselves, and anybody who wants to join the ride is welcome to join, but I'm certainly not forcing anyone to you know, love my music, because there's so much amazing stuff out there.
Right.
I feel like the whole, if you think about how much negativity there is online about artists as human beings, their music that they release, the producers they work with, it's so silly. If you think about the real problems we have in the world, and that we're arguing online with strangers we've never met behind a keyboard, feeling super cool, writing something edgy and mean about people, for what reason? Like, it's just, it's so silly to me. To me, music is about love and sharing passion, and people who want to join that can. Nobody has ever been forced to listen to stuff they don't want to hear.
Sure. What a healthy perspective.
Maybe I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago, so that may have changed.
That's great. Okay, we love to hear it. I feel bad asking you this, given how much work you've just put into this new album. But are you working on anything now?
I am. I'm not quite ready to reveal what it is, but I am working on a project that I'm super excited to share that is still in the world of Telos.
Okay.
And you know, I don't really want to say much more just yet.
That's fair.
I'm also working on, and to be completely transparent, we've had a meeting with my management just a few days ago, but what do you want to do musically next? And my main answer is, I actually don't know. I don't really know, besides that one project that I have planned along the way that I'm going to do. I actually don't know what's inspiring me the most after I'm done with that project.
Sure.
I need to feel some sort of inspiration. I'm not going to just make things. I for sure want to make some music for other people again. It's something that I, every few years, feel the need to do. Not the need, but like the itch to do.
Sure.
There's something really nice about not being the one that's constantly judged. And you just make somebody a piece of song, you deliver it, and it's theirs, and you never have to, most people don't even know you ever made it. So I definitely want to do a little bit of that to enjoy the hobby of making music,
Sure.
but not feel like it's part of my career. And then I want to be able to just do, I think the last years have been so consumed by this large project that Telos was, that it didn't allow me to do many fun projects that were like 1 song, 2 song based.
Yes.
For movies, for games.
Yes.
I would love to do more in that realm. I would love to score anything from movies to shows to games.
So, I mean, I have to ask this because I've been seeing a lot of chatter about it online. But there was, you mentioned, a potential BLACKPINK collaboration that didn't happen. Is that something that is still potentially on your radar?
Yeah, very much so. I still would love to collaborate with BLACKPINK, and I don't have anything specific right now.
Sure.
But I do have a song that I made that I think would be incredible with BLACKPINK. Now,
Ladies.
I can't tell you how they like it, but
Okay.
there is something that I made that I think would be a really good fit.
Okay. Exciting. Okay. And then let's talk about the Dragon Ball
DAIMA?
single, DAIMA. Tell me about that. Tell me about why anime is important, influential, and what made you decide to make the song.
Well, I grew up with Dragon Ball. I've watched it multiple times as a kid, and I think just anything you grow up with as a kid shapes you drastically for the rest of your life. I think that goes just throughout the development of any child.
Yes.
And I just think that music, the theme song to Dragon Ball just really stuck with me. And then I was working on Out of Time, which is the first song on Telos, and I was approached by Dragon Ball to write the theme song. And I was incredibly honest, which I'm proud of, and I said, I already wrote the perfect theme song. That is so deeply inspired by Dragon Ball to begin with, without
Sure.
there having ever been any connection. And I wrote it like 9 years ago. I just never finished it. And I was like, it is going to be Out of Time, which is a song on my album, but I would be intrigued to sort of make it something else as well.
Sure.
So Out of Time turned into 2 separate songs, which I tried as good as I could
Yeah.
to like not let the one side influence the other, but I just had 2 parallel paths. One was going to be perfect for Telos, one was going to be perfect for Dragon Ball. So they sort of evolved into their own 2 different versions, but of course there's a lot of correlations because they're built on the same musical DNA.
Sure.
But it was a dream come true. Like a few years ago, I think we were making a list of things I would love to do in my life one day.
Okay.
Like I would love to score something for Dragon Ball. That was one of the things. And so, you know, as this simulation works, of course, briefly after I was asked if I would be interested in doing that. So definitely a life goal.
Nice one. Okay, and obviously AI is changing the way that music is made, is released, all these different things. What's your take on incorporating AI into music? Would you do it? Have you done it? What's your thoughts?
I've used AI for over a decade. I think all music producers have. It's just that nobody ever called it AI because there wasn't much to sell.
Sure.
But like the simplest example is an equalizer, where you have a sound and you want to take something out.
Yep.
Is a regular equalizer. You can have a physical outboard hardware gear for that. And then there's the AI version where it listens and automatically finds where it needs to deduct something and will do it for you. Those tools have sort of been around and they've been getting progressively better.
Right.
I've always used them. It's just that nobody like set their AI.
Sure.
Now, of course, there's the spin it way further forwards, like have a song, I don't have a vocal, make me a vocal. Like I haven't done that. What I have been using AI for religiously, and it's been incredible, is when I was touring South America and Asia, actually. I had this drum moment, and I was playing a new song every night that is specific to each country. Something that is special about Brazil,
yeah.
you know?
Cool.
Like, for example, I was playing the Brazilian, or Portuguese, sorry, version of the Dragon Ball theme song.
Right.
So I was able to just, with AI, take the drums out
Sure.
so that I can play them
Sure.
live and get the vocal and make the vocal sound a little better. Boom, I play that song. And so the next day I have an idea. I want to play this Colombian song. And I get the stems through AI because I would have no time to reach out to a label, ask, does anybody even have the stems, or do we need to get the tapes and print them and do all that? With AI, I have all my stems.
Sure.
I mute what I don't need. I play it live. I tweak and make everything sound better. I pitch into another key. So that's something I use all the time. Excuse me, all the time when I play live, and without AI that would not be possible.
That's fascinating. I think we're out of time. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I just honestly, I would like to thank Billboard for the support throughout the years, because I think there's few magazines or you know, corporations that have supported me from the very beginning so positively. So, you know, maybe that's a good moment to say thank you.
Well, thank you. It's our pleasure, truly. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean it.
Cool.